What is up, nerds? It's me, your buddy, your pal, HeyArcher. Welcome back to my channel. I got it to work. I got the camera to work. Got the intro to work. Yet the mic is like way too low going on here. Hello to everybody in the chat. Thanks for stopping by in this Charlie Foxtrot, as we used to call it. And as you can see, I couldn't figure out a way to get rid of that error message that shows up on the camera every so often. But that's okay. We are learning together. Here on HeyArcher, we talk all things nerdy, all things content creation, whatever it is you want to talk about. And that's the best part about having a live show. So shout out to everybody in the chat right now. April's there, Aaron's there. Pick a side. Stupid in the house. Fantastic. I hope that all of you are having a good day, quarantine, whatever. Over here in the Northeast, it's a bit rainy out. So I feel like every Thursday it has rained, because every Thursday I go to Trader Joe's, and every Thursday when I go to Trader Joe's, I'm standing in the rain. It's getting quite annoying and old real fast. So again, thanks everybody for being here. Whoa, Steve in the house. April in the house. This is dope. Thanks everybody. Thank you for being here. I'll get a round of applause. Still learning the soundboard here. So, on today's episode, I kind of wanted to just, as they say, shoot the shit with you. And we can talk about whatever you want. I came into this with no game plan today because I wanted the comment section to kind of determine where we're going to go. And some of you have actually submitted some questions or topics in advance. So, of course, we'll go over that. But aside from that, I had no other game plan in mind. This is your 30 to 45 minutes to be what you want. So, jumping out of the gate, Steve had asked me online 2 questions, and they're both fantastic questions. So I'll cover the first one right away. Actually, I'm going to pose one to all of you in the comments, whether you're watching this on record or watching it live. Have any of you started doing any kind of art and craft, or arts and crafts? Have you been doing arts and crafts that don't involve improving your content or creating like a podcast, something like that? Like, have any of you done something that's just like, I'm doing a puzzle today, or I'm doing a painting today, just something to kind of keep your brain going? Because Steve actually has done a Lego build recently, and Lego builds have become quite popular, I have to say, in the last couple of years. And what's so cool about that community of Lego builders, for those of you who don't know, and actually some of you in the quantum stream, in the quarantine stream with Pat Flynn, he's talked about Legos before. It's one of his hobbies. And something that's so dope about the Lego community is Lego, whatever the parent company is, they actually listen to their fans quite often. And if you have an idea for a Lego that you want, a set or whatnot, they actually do like polls, and you can like vote on something that you want to create, that you have interest in. And then beneath that, there's a whole subgroup of builders who will say, all right, everybody voted on building the DeLorean as a Lego creation. And then let's say Lego doesn't release that. Well, this subgroup says, all right, you guys want a DeLorean. We think that's a cool idea. If you buy these packs of Legos that are unrelated to the DeLorean whatsoever and put these certain pieces together, you actually will get a DeLorean. So the Lego community is super dope. And I saw that Steve had done a space station build. So I've debated doing Legos, I have to say, just because it's something different. And again, it's creation that doesn't involve this channel or brand or whatnot. So I've debated it, but I have not gone the Lego route. What has gotten my interest of late, though, is dioramas, and with that actually being what's called Gunpla, which is Gundam building of sets. And I've been watching videos like I'll be working and just having Gunpla videos playing and watching people just speed build all sorts of Gundams. For those of you who don't know, a Gundam is just a giant robot that fights other robots and people are in it controlling it and stuff. It's a long-running Japanese series or anime. But what people do as they build them and then like customize the paint jobs and then build little sets to like kind of tell a story, that seems pretty cool to me. Especially like I saw one where the guy built a Gundam that was like crash landed in water essentially, and it was all battle damaged, and he used resin to make the water. And just seeing how he's able to just make, you know, something that's like that big but look like just a picture, and it's the Gundam with water and there's grass and rocks and there's rust on it. So that kind of detail is really intriguing to me. So I've been debating doing that. And the other thing that you mentioned was today was the release of Streets of Rage 4, which for those of you who may not know about that is, I think it's like 20 years now since the last Streets of Rage game. It was a side-scrolling game that was just beat 'em up, and it's a bunch of cops, but you're like a cool cop, you know, like you don't wear a uniform, you wear flannel and you grow a beard, and you just go through and there's like a storyline and whatnot. But what's cool about this release is it's one of those where the people who made the game, from what it appears like, they didn't take it seriously because they know that you're buying this game just for nostalgia reasons. The story's not that, doesn't have to be like that great. You just want to like play with your friends and beat up bad guys or whatnot. So the side scroller genre is fun for that, for party games. So Streets of Rage 4 came out today. So Steve, you'll have to let us know how that goes. Actually, on that though, anybody in the comments, and I'll start going through these comments here. Have any of you bought an arcade cabinet? Like they have a Ninja Turtle one that you can buy. They have I think it's Street Fighter's one, and maybe X-Men vs. Street Fighter, or Marvel vs. Capcom's another one. And it's just a standalone arcade set that's probably like, I don't know, 3 feet off the ground. But now, because that's getting so popular, you actually have risers that people are making. So you'll put that cabinet in the riser, and then it actually then stands, 5+ feet. So if anybody's gotten that in the comments, do let me know. I'd be curious to see if you thought it was worth the money, if you like it. There we go. That's a solid question. Who wins a fight, Wolverine or E Honda? So I'll come back to that. I'll let Steve, if you're still watching, I'll let you answer that question, and then I'll give you my pick afterwards. So we'll come back to that. I'm curious to who you have in that one. Can you tell us what your superpower is? Oh, let me move this thing out of the way so I can see. So what's funny is with Ecamm, there's all these overlays, and sometimes it covers the comments, so I can't see it. So now I can see it. Can you tell us what your superpower is? Oops, it disappeared. Can you tell us what your superpower is so we know what questions to ask? What is my superpower? So I guess to be cheesy and corny, we had to, for work, do like self-reviews almost. And one of them was after you do the self-review, somebody else reviews you. And my superpower was deemed to be patience, which is, or not even so much patience, but kind of the combo of patience and calmness, which outside of work is probably furthest from the truth as to who I am. But it's funny, when I'm in like work mode, I kind of like can like level the field. So in a cheesy, realistic way, that is my power. But from a perspective of if I was a superhero, what my power would be, I definitely want an accelerated healing factor. And actually, going back to the previous question, the reason I'd want that is so that if I was reading a book, I think it was Civil War, and it's a comic where in the beginning, Wolverine has somehow, through the power of comics, got onto a plane that was hijacked. And it turns out the hijacked plane was actually carrying like money for a bank or whatever. So he's fighting the bad guys on the plane, and he gets to the cockpit, and he's trying to like regain control of the plane, and the people keep coming in to fight him. And Wolverine's like, if you guys don't stop, like I can't land this plane. Like I just need to land this plane, and then we could fight. And they wouldn't stop going at him. And Wolverine just said, F it, and just nosedived the plane into the ground, killed everybody on the plane, and then like a week later just like regenerates out of it. So I always thought that was kind of cool. So I would want accelerated healing factor. Pick a side. Stupid says that you're baking. That's awesome. What are you currently baking? And does cooking out of a microwave count as baking? Because I've been doing that. Let's see. April says, I'm the least creative person on the planet Earth when it comes to anything craft related. I'm going to say false. Because you have a YouTube channel, you have a podcast, so you're creative, and you just happen to be creative in your own kind of way. So that's the one thing that I always encourage for everybody is find what your creative outlet is, and then kind of just roll with that. Because, you know, where I think I talked about it on HeyArcher 161. You know, I like to express myself artistically through this, you know, through YouTube, through photography, that kind of thing. I went to school for actually advertisement design. That lasted all of a year. And, you know, for the life of me, I loved going to life drawing class. I loved going to Photoshop class, but was terrible at all of it. So I remember one day the teacher actually came up to me and, you know, I was sitting there, I was getting kind of frustrated. He could tell. And it was in that class, we were doing charcoal drawing using, different like thicknesses and types of charcoal to draw a model in front of us. And I'm sitting next to this girl who's like kills it in this class. Like every time she's drawing something, it just looks amazing. And he comes over to me and he's like, you know, hey, what's going on? And I was like, I suck at this. This is not, I can't do this. Or I mean, I can, but I'm not good at it. And he goes, well, no, you're not, you don't suck at it at all. He's like, well, what about your artwork do you think sucks? And I was like, well, my lines are this way and I don't have the right shadowing here, or whatever. And he said, and I wish I could remember his name. He said, it's not that it sucks. It's like, that's just your interpretation of it. That's just your viewpoint of it. So to the next person, yeah, maybe it doesn't look like what it should look because they're basing it on somebody else's vision, but this is just your vision of it. So that's your vision. That's your style. And you just got to kind of own it and make it your own. So you can even take that and carry it into your YouTubing, into your podcasting. It doesn't have to look like everybody else's. You just kind of eventually build your own style as long as you keep doing it. So I think you are creative. Don't sell yourself short. We got Aaron in the house. Aaron Waller. Check out his YouTube channel for sure. Animal Crossing has sucked up any non-work, non-family time. You need to put it down and make some videos. What if you made videos on Animal Crossing? That's the one thing you could try, I guess. I don't know how you would do it, though. You'd have to get a capture card, which I'm currently using. That's how I'm getting the camera feed here, using the Elgato 60 HD S Plus. I think it's the proper acronym for it or whatever. So currently it's sold out on BestBuy.com because people figured out this capture card also works for video. But once it's back, yeah, do some Animal Crossing videos. Why not? We got Steve with the good vibes. You're right. Good vibes in the house. By the way, if you have not, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Turtles in Time Cabinet must have. Yeah. Actually, did you get that? I'm curious. If you, Steve, by the way, if you want, put your IG in the comments because Steve has an awesome setup as far as like Power Ranger cabinet, and just Turtles, all things nerdy, primarily in those two, and also has some awesome cosplays. So check out Steve there. And of course, you chose Wolverine. Yeah, that's what I was leaning on that too. I was leaning on the Wolverine to win versus E Honda. But I think it'll still be a pretty dope fight. All right, Aaron says, work mode is I'm calm and patient, but outside of my wife would strongly disagree. Yeah. That's the thing. It's kind of like when you're in the professional world, you kind of have to wear multiple hats, but then also in a way to keep it nerdy, you have your secret identity and then you have the superhero version. So I think in a lot of ways, that's the best way to determine success, which is, can you actually split the two? Like when you get to to work and do what you do, can you pull yourself out of your emotions and whatever that engulf your life and then cross the threshold into work and now be that person. So it's good that you can do that. Picket Side says, key lime pie bits. That is awesome. I'm mad you never made those for our comedy debates. A bit offended by that. Weight Watcher style. So in Weight Watcher style fashion, I'm assuming you mean each one is worth a certain amount of points. Or no, I think Weight Watchers, didn't they change how they do that? I was on Weight Watchers a couple times. It used to be the point system, and then I'm pretty sure they like switched it to something else. But what I liked about Weight Watchers is it made me aware of like how much certain things may not be good for you. So I remember I went out for wings when I was like in my hardcore dieting phase, and I was like calculating ahead of time like how many wings I can eat, and my wings and buffalo cheese alone, if I had like 6 wings, was more than a day's worth of calories that I was supposed to be eating. So I always give Weight Watchers the credit on that one. But you're in quarantine. There's no need to try to be fit in quarantine. It just doesn't do anything. Steve has just ordered another Lego set, the giant Saturn V rocket. Shit's over I'm guessing 2,000 pieces. Yeah. I like that you're doing NASA-based ones. Do you have like a cabinet now that you're going to dedicate to NASA-based Legos or just Legos in general? It'd be pretty sick to see. Steve also has Final Fantasy VII Remake is just beautiful. Yeah. That's one of those games where I feel like I fail as a nerd because I never got into Final Fantasy. By the time... So my video game upbringing was... I had Nintendo. I got it when I was about 5, I think. It was a birthday gift. And then I ended up getting a Sega Genesis at some point. And then I finally got PlayStation. But I think when I got PlayStation, that was when N64 had just come out. And I preferred playing my cousin's N64 because he had, at the time, that was probably WCW versus NWO. World Tour maybe. So I was getting more into like the N64 and fighting type games versus what I would have with PlayStation. And then I also for a long period of time did not like single player games. I only wanted to do multiplayer. And that could just be because I grew up an only child. So I wanted to do all the games that kind of I can interact with other people with. So that's probably what led to that. And we've been jumping around between 5 and 6 viewers. So thanks to everybody who's watching. And we're at 4 likes. So if you have not hit the thumbs up button, do that. I appreciate it. And Aaron's asking for your IG, Steve. Steve goes, no cabinet yet, but it's on the radar. Yeah. I think you would, I think that would fit well in the Nerd Cave there. And that's his IG. And of course, no worries. Next time, once we have a place to do comedy again, and we can be without social distancing, you'd have to make the key lime pie bits. And then we got, so it is still the point system. All right. For some reason I thought they like revised it or something. My NASA cabinet is starting to become a thing. Yeah. So one of the cool things is, for those of you who may have, like figures or model kits or whatnot, IKEA makes like this really, really amazing cabinet that you can buy for, it's about $70, I'd say. And it's pretty spacious. You could, I think, adjust, you can't adjust the heights on everything, but you've got about essentially 5 shelves you can use. And it's great because you can either clutter it up as much as you want or just space it out and put all sorts of things in there. And then there's also a video that actually Steve had put online that showed how to dust-proof it. So it's nice because if you have all your nerdy stuff, instead of having it like blasted on the wall if you don't want, you can buy like this nice glass cabinet, put everything in there so it looks more organized. So something to definitely look into. Aaron's got, I'm an only child too, but I prefer local or couch multiplayer versus online multiplayer. Yeah. That's funny that you mentioned that. So it's one of those, there was like that joke online of like, they were asking kids, do they know what the save button is? Like when they click on it, like what is it? And they would say, oh, it's the save as button. And they're like, no. But like, what is that symbol supposed to be? And when people said it's a floppy disk, they had no idea what a floppy disk was. And now even some of my employees, like I'll do random stuff like that. Like, hey, do you know what this thing is? And they have no clue. So kind of dating yourself. But probably the biggest like thing to date you, if you really want to go there, is ask any kid, like, do they go to a friend's house to play games together? And secondly, do they even know what a LAN party is? Because that, I remember when LAN parties were becoming a thing. I mean, if you're going to your friend's house, first of all, you have to go to the friend's house who had access to 2 TVs that would not interfere with their parents watching TV. Like that was criteria number 1. And the nice part about LAN parties was you didn't have to, internet speeds didn't really matter. You just needed a router of some sort. Actually, for those of you who watch the income stream, now's the part where I should have some sort of story time symbol thing. You know what? How about this? In honor of a throwback. We'll Thundercat ho that. That should be a song. So yeah, back in the day, if you wanted to go LAN party, I remember I'd have to pack. I did it not too many times before college, but in college it was easier. But before college, it was like, all right, which friend has multiple TVs you can access? All right, cool. Find that person. All right, which one of us is packing our system to take to that other person's house? Like, we're not even talking PCs here. We're talking just systems. Like, all right, cool. The determination there between who was taking the system was like, who of the group of us, if we got jumped and somebody stole your system, would your parents buy you another one? Like that was part of the thought process. And then eventually you kind of like stopped caring, but that was definitely a part of it. So you're like, all right, cool. We got a system. All right, everybody's got to bring their controllers. All right, does somebody have an extra router? Yep. All right. And this was like there was no Wi-Fi routers at this point. Like, cool, we got that. And then you're hauling on the bus, you're hauling on the train to get to the person's house that you're going to LAN party at. And at that point, again, we were all in high school or elementary school. So it's not like we had a bunch of money. So you didn't have, all right, you're going to be upstairs. I'm going to run this cable downstairs and then link the TVs up that way. You're in the same room with everybody, probably in somebody's bedroom, smelling like BO, playing Halo versus each other or whatnot. And to date yourself even more, and I challenge you to ask a youth this question, how many of them have even played split screen before? Because I remember you'd sit there, you're playing Halo, and you have this like small box out of the big screen, and you're just trying to see what you're playing. And then that one person is always like turning to see like what the other people are doing on their screen, where they are, that kind of thing. So, back in the day, you had to like hustle hard to be able to play a game with a friend, for sure. So I just love that whole couch and local, because it's like not even a thing anymore, which is kind of sad, because you also now have kids who don't know how to interact with each other. So actually, before I get to my next question, I will do a quick pause, because if I don't, the camera's just going to turn off at some point. So I also need some sort of like other music to play for a quick pause to reset the camera quickly. So let me do that, and then we'll keep the show going. Here, listen to the intro again. So that's the annoying part. I can't figure out. I'll get content creator E for a second. So to do video recording with a point and shoot camera, like a DSLR camera, the issue you always run into is to separate a point and shoot camera versus a video camera. These companies have to build in like a shutoff time on the camera. So that way over time, like on the Canon, it's like 30 minutes that it turns off. And that is so that way when they declare it for tax reasons, it's not labeled as a video recorder. It's labeled as a actual point and shoot camera. So I think I did whatever to keep it going, but if the screen cuts off, I'll just turn it back on. So it's one of the things I'm trying to figure out how to override on the camera itself. But for those of you who do want to make content and you do want to use a point and shoot camera to record stuff, one of the hacks I found to keep the camera going without the screen turning off is there's an adapter I bought, and it's in my last video, my last unboxing. I'll try to link that up above or something. There's an adapter I bought that has a fake camera battery. And the camera battery, the fake one, it goes in the camera, but then there's an actual plug that comes out, and you can plug the camera into either a wall outlet or an external battery. The one that I bought plugs into an external battery because it's only DC. It's not AC. So if you buy one of those, the risk is kind of on you. I've been using this for about a week now. I'm liking it, but I don't know if it could short at some point, destroy my camera. I'm kind of like taking the gamble on this. The other thing is it is DC. So I'm exclusively plugging it into a battery pack. I'm not trying to then plug it into a wall outlet because I don't think this one was built for that. So if you look into that, be aware of it, and check out my last unboxing video of the Elgato screen capture card because then I go over that battery pack as well. So we have... I was never a huge fan of the older Final Fantasy with RPG style turn-based back in the days. The newer one, including Final Fantasy VII Remake, are action RPG, God of War fighting style. Yeah, I did see that, and I did debate buying it for that reason. And I do know that in the latest Final Fantasy game, they do expand a lot on some of the characters and go into more in-depth backstories and whatnot. But for some reason, I just can't, like Final Fantasy just doesn't do it for me. The only one I bought was, and in the comments, you can, of course, let me know, was it Final Fantasy 8 or 9 that was... Oh, 8, I think, was the one with... Was it Squall, the guy with, like, the sword gun? But then 9 may have been the one that was, like, aquatic-based. Or maybe it's the reverse. But I feel like graphically it was 9 was the aquatic one. Whichever one that was, that's the one I bought. And I was playing it, trying to get into it. And I think I got maybe a quarter of the way through the first disc. I think all of those were like 3 or 4 discs, if I remember. So I was going through it, and then for some reason I just kind of like stopped. So at some point, maybe I'll give it a shot. But I'm also a sucker for a game that has like good character design. So if I can't customize a character to make him or her look however I want, I tend to not play the game as much. That happened with Star Wars Fallen Order, and I was getting into Red Dead a lot, but then at a certain point I was like, I can only customize him to a certain extent, and I can't change things, so I stopped doing it. Another question, what is your next cosplay? That is a wonderful question. Just an absolute wonderful question. Well, I mean, the sad part is, when are we going to get a chance to actually like cosplay at a convention again with all this craziness? Because LA Comic-Con is canceled, and I haven't seen anything about Boston Comic-Con yet. The big ones I've been going to were Boston Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, and Rhode Island is actually one of my favorites. Like, it's a top 2 between that and New York, but I haven't gone the last couple of years because of work. So provided that things are kind of back to normal and conventions can be a thing again, I think I would, if I could cosplay somebody, I'd probably try to make a new cosplay. Because the last year I got kind of lazy and was I reused costumes. So I'd probably try to do something new. And I'm trying to think of like a show that I've been into this year. I don't know. What do you guys think? You can write in the comments what cosplay you think I should do. Because I'm always a sucker for like a good DC costume. But I feel like I should do more Marvel-based ones. You know, Luke Cage is always like a popular one that comes up. But I'm not sure. Or maybe I can do... I don't know. If I can find a way to use the War Machine Punisher helmet, that'd be dope. I don't want to... My love of cosplay has we've not fallen out of love. Our relationship is stagnant in our long-term relationship here, because while I love being in the convention and wearing the costume, I also don't want to just spend hours on end, days on end, building a new costume. So to wear the War Machine suit, I'd want to make like an Iron Man type suit. Of course, battle damage, because that's my thing. But I don't know if I want to put the time to do that at the moment. Things may change, for all I know. Things may change. But I also do want to kind of just make a Punisher costume of some sort. That's actually what inspired the Green Lantern cosplay. So for those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, HeyArcher on Instagram, or on Facebook, actually, if you go to facebook.com/HeyArcher, I do on there have all my various cosplays and stuff. So the Green Lantern one was, it started off as like I was trying to do something that was a mix between Grifter is it Grifter or Grifton? I think it's Grifter from Wildcats and Green Lantern Renegade. And then it was Grifter, and I was trying to combine that with like Punisher, with like a Punisher kind of look, like just like heavy weapons and whatnot. And then in making the Grifter, I was like, oh, what if instead of just a red Grifter thing, what if he was a Green Lantern? Because now Wildcats in that, I think Wildstorm is that comic series, they're partnered with DC. So that's where I made a Grifter green suit. I made the Green Lantern chest plate, and then decided, wait, I don't really want to wear the mask the entire time. I think I messed up the mask too. And I was like, oh, what if I made a Green Lantern Renegade, but Jon Stewart? And that's what that costume was. So the process is fun. Like coming up with a character and evolving the character and making the costume try to match some sort of story. That's always a fun process to do. Aaron's got, will you create some new cosplay crossovers? Yeah, yeah. I feel like that does happen more often than not. For example, I did 2 Black Ranger cosplays, and Steve actually has a Green Ranger cosplay. And they both, well, actually, those don't count as crossovers. Those just are like variants, if anything. Have I done a true crossover, though? I don't think so. I don't think I've done a true crossover. So I can do that, I guess. Well, yeah, an idea, if you guys want to write that in the comments at some point, what kind of crossover would you want? Would you want just something as simple as a Marvel DC crossover? Or maybe like an anime and Marvel crossover, or some movie, let me know if you got an idea on that. I really do want to make for some reason, talking about Conviction, which was the topic of the last HeyArcher, I do want to make a Naruto cosplay of some sort. I actually was making a giant sage scroll. Most of you probably don't know what that is. I saw the character at Comic-Con. I think, Steve, you might have been at that one. There's this kid who walked around with a giant scroll, and he sat on the ground and unraveled it, and there was all these letters and characters on it. And I thought it was dope. And I went home and looked up what is, where is that from? I knew he was Naruto, but I didn't know what that scroll thing was. And it turns out that was part of one of the story arcs, was the Sage Scrolls, they called it. So I really wanted to make one. I bought all sorts of pieces. I think I made like the skeleton of it, and then I ended up throwing it out because it wasn't coming together. And then I was in this weird phase of like, I don't want to be a nerd anymore. That's a long story, but I still want to make that. And I think I think I figured it out how to do it after the fact. But the main reason I wanted to make it too was, since I'm 6'1", I wanted the scroll to be big, like huge, and then just carry that thing around the convention. But part of that was I wanted it to also be able to open up, so there'd be characters on it. But at the same time, because I have to walk around a convention with it, I wanted it to not weigh a lot. So I might revisit making that. Green Lantern Black Ranger crossover. I like the concept, but there's too many color schemes mixing in there. I'd have to be... I guess I'd have to be... Yeah, it could be Zach as a Green Lantern, but then the color would throw it off, because then people would be like... We'll come back to that. I like where your head's at, though. So you can use your existing equipment. Yeah. I kind of like that. I can't believe I forgot this. I really, really want to make a cosplay based on the current Ninja Turtle Power Ranger crossover. Like, that's really what I want to do. I'm thinking of... I really want to do the Red Ranger because he's my favorite. But the Black Ranger one looks pretty dope as well. I got to figure out how I can somehow show all of you, like if I'm browsing the internet. Let me see if this works. And by the way, for all of you who are here, again, thanks for swinging by. Hit that thumbs up if you're here, and if you're new, subscribe, of course. But if you have a question before we sign off, we'll probably sign off around 4:15. Then I can try to answer it before the end of the show. There you go. Figured it out. So so for those of you who don't know, Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles are doing a crossover. The final episode, or the final issue, is delayed because of coronavirus, which sucks. But once it's done, I do want to buy like the whole graphic novel, just to give it some sort of support, because, if not for doing that, I don't think they would make any more. And I think it'd be great if they made more. I think it'd be great if they made figures for it. This is what I want to do. Is there a way I can make this larger? Yeah. Open image, new tab. Does that work? It's kind of a crappy image, but I really want to make like this, especially because I'm a sucker for using like fur in a cosplay, and I think I could. I got some black fur left over from the other ones, so I'd love to make a Zach. What do you call them? Would the Rangers now be like street ninjas? Like, is that what they're supposed to be called in this? Now that they're not Power Rangers in the series, that'd be pretty fun. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. We got Power Rangers comic from Boom Studios has been amazing. Yeah, that's what I've been seeing. And yeah, the crossover. I mean, I just think that's the figures we need. We need some more figures on that. Oh, we got an extra thumbs up. Thanks to whoever that was. Appreciate it a lot. So that was fun. I liked the whole... sorry, I'm just kind of going through, make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, here we go. Important question. Have you ever eaten more than Joel at Taco Bell? Have you ever eaten more than Joel at Taco Bell? That's a very, very, very good question. I think in terms of... No. I think think I lost because it was all on the same trip. We had we all went to Taco Bell. We were totally sober, I swear. We went to Taco Bell, and I think he got a family pack and ate the thing by himself. So I think he beats me on that one, because the most I've probably done is like, I don't know, 3 or 4 burritos and the Nacho Bel Grande. That deserves something to clap on that one, and it deserves. So yeah, I think Joel probably wins. I think he had a family pack by himself, and the most I've done is like 4 burritos and a Nacho Bel Grande. So that was a tough question. That's a tough one. All right, we'll go another 3 minutes. So let's, you guys can rapid fire some questions out there. Do a M'Baku from Black Panther variant. Give you some fun options. Yeah, I think he was one of the coolest characters in that movie. I actually bought a bunch of stuff to make Killmonger. And the only reason I never did the cosplay was I couldn't find a wig to do it. Like, all the wigs I got were just crappy. So I just never ended up releasing it. Then we got the Street Ninja would be cool. Yeah. That's where I really want. I think that should be a series on its own. Like the Power Rangers being just street ninjas. I feel like that's probably a Wu-Tang album name. We got let's see. The wheels are turning. Yeah. Oh, Lenny in the house. For us taco novices, what's in the family pack? The family pack is, I think, 12 taco. No. I feel like it's like 24 tacos. And then you're choosing how many you want, hard shell and soft shell, if I remember. Believe it or not, I haven't had Taco Bell since September. That's one of the things I was trying to like stop doing so I can slow down the chances of me killing myself via terrible eating habits. So I haven't had Taco Bell since September, and I haven't had beer since September, actually. So those are the two. We got 2 minutes remaining. So again, let me just do one last scroll through. Again, thanks everybody for being here. April, Steve, pick a side. I'm guessing that's Sean. Aaron, Lenny for stopping in. Everybody else is watching too. Some of you did not comment, but I saw the viewership go up. So if you are still here, thanks. I'm glad that the video was able to work today. You don't believe it. I know it's hard to believe. I've got on my door. So I made two boards, right? I made a vision board, and then I made like I don't even know what to call the other one, but it has like dates on it and like things I want to remember. And I wrote on there actually the last day I had Taco Bell, and I think I wrote on there the last day I had beer, if I remember. I'll have to check it out. It is Sean. All right, awesome. So yeah, the Taco Bell thing's real. It is real. And yeah, you don't want to drink Clorox for sure. But yeah, this was fun. I'm glad the camera worked. I'm glad there was no real hiccups at all in this entire thing. But most importantly, I thank all of you guys for being here. It was fun doing this kind of just live interaction with the whole thing. And if you guys ever want a guest star on the show, just shoot me a message. We'll figure out how to get it to work. I did it before, but now we have the camera, so it'll even look cooler. My plan, though, in the future at some point is to have like the other person on a screen. Maybe not that one, but maybe like I'll have another screen next to me or something. So yeah, thanks for being here, guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you did. And I'll talk to all you nerds in the next